What's going on, guys? It's me, Dreamliner Fan 2016 here, and today we have my very first model plane review for you guys. I hope you guys are excited for today's video, and something I have never done in my channel before, and this is my first time doing so. So, once again, this is my first model plane review, and you guys have seen on YouTube on what these model plane reviews are, so quite interesting to jump in on this type of content, or this video content right here. And overall, I'm just excited to do this. So today I'll be reviewing the NG Model 1/400 scale United Airlines Boeing 747SP in the Battleship Grey livery. This is a very interesting model I decided to pick for my first model plane review. And overall, it's a very nice model, but I'll go into further details on why I want to do this model and further details on this aircraft right here. So with that being said, let's get started. But before I review the box, I do want to give a little bit of background on why I decided to do this. So reason why I want to do these model plane reviews is because I have some models that I do have in my collection. However, some of those models I didn't give a proper review or give no review at all. So I decided to go for this one for the start. And overall, it is a retro model, so it is nice to start off with a retro model, I gotta say, from United Airlines. And really interesting right there. And overall, I'm just excited to review this. I do want to do a full in-depth review on this model right here, because I did review this back in Massive Unboxing 1, and unfortunately I would say that it was good, but technically the way I reviewed the model was bad, so I decided to go for this one so this aircraft can have its own separate review. So really excited to do this, and let's get started. So I think what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna review the box, and then I'm gonna review the model itself, and then go into further details of this model, well, this aircraft in general, and the overall aircraft in United's fleet. So with that being said, let's get started with the box. And here's the box itself. A very nice box art from NG Models right here. And the box is quite bigger compared to their 787s and AC-30s. Probably that's because the 747 is a huge aircraft, and they needed a bigger box to fit this model inside. And this is kind of the similar size of their 777s. And yeah, very nice right there. So let's begin with the review. So you got the Boeing 747SP tiles right there. SP means special performance. And then you got the CGI image of the aircraft right there. And then you got the tulip logo right there. Of course, they had their tulip in the Sol Bass and the Battleship Grey livery, and also their blue tulip as well. And then you got the various stripes of navy blue and a it's like a middish blue. If I'm looking at it from this, well, I have some good lighting. So that's kind of a middish blue, and that's a navy blue. And then you got some patterns right here for the stripes. You got a light, this is an orange, and then you got a reddish orange, and then you got navy blue. And on the bottom side, it's all gray. So you got your NG Models logo right there, 1/400 scale, die-cast collectible models, die-cast metal. And then you got the United Airlines logo right there, and they're I think this is Times New Roman, if I were to guess, just by looking at it. And then you got the Boeing licensed product right there, and the registration of this aircraft is November 145 Uniform Alpha, which is the exact, well, didn't mean to hit my light, but what I meant to say is, this is the exact aircraft that was converted into NASA's Sophia aircraft, which I'll go into further more details later down the road. And here's the sides right here, looking pretty nice. And this is kind of a similar side. And then you got this side, this is the top one with the blue stripes. Both sides are similar, and then once again, here's the bottom, which is all gray. Moving on to the back side of the box, quite similar. You got your NG Models logo on the top left, and then you got their social media pages, and of course the choking hazards. And the item number of this model is 07008. So I think this is one of their early, this is not their first 747SP, but this is one of their earlier 747SPs back then. They did release this, I think they released this back at April 2021, if I were to guess. So other than that, the box looks nice, and now let's move on to the model. And here's the model itself, looking absolutely beautiful in 1/400 form. Now, of course, let me give you guys a proper review, since my previous one wasn't that great, but I guess this video will be much better than that. So, let's start off here with the cockpit windows right there on the upper deck, looking very nice. And this is probably like their emergency exit hatch, if I were to guess, because like sometimes they would open that and like the pilots would like pop out of there. I think for an emergency, if like the aircraft would crash, they would like get out of this hatch right there and escape. And then you got the windows right there on the top area. You got the top antenna right there. There's only one antenna on the top area of the aircraft, which is kind of like reasonable. And there is no Wi-Fi box, which is reasonable because this aircraft is very old. So yeah. And then you got the nose shape of the 747, that very iconic nose shape, and of course you got the iconic hump as well. Very nice nose shape representation for the 747 by NG Malls, and I gotta say it looks very nice. And then you got the worldwide services right there, and you got the L1 boarding door right there, and the nose gear, well there's the bottom antenna right there, and then there's the nose gear and nose gear door. The nose gear, I gotta say, it's like kind of weird to look at on a 747 because like this strut right here is like facing in front, while most planes have this strut facing the back, this is actually like the actual design of the 747, which is, I gotta say, very interesting indeed. And yeah, so that's the very fun side. And then you got the United Airlines tiles right there, back in their, I think their 90s to like 2000s time frame. And then you got the L2 door right there. I think this is also a boarding door if I were to guess. So that's the L2 boarding door. And this is where you find, this is where first class would be. So you got one row of first class on the upper deck. And on this side you have like first class over here. So you can do anything on the 747, how you want to lay out on your seats, how your seats want to be laid out. So quite interesting to have United 747 SPs or the 747s in general to have first class on top and first class on this side of the aircraft. And then you got the stripes right there with the orange, red, orange, and blue stripe right there. And then you got the bottom navy blue belly right there. And of course you got the gray, which I gotta say, it looks very nice. Moving on to the middle, you got the engines right there, looking very nice. I'll go into further details on what these engines are once I give you further details of the aircraft in general. And then you got, I think this is business class, I would guess. Yeah, I think this is where business class runs down. So it runs from here all the way to here. And then you got the main landing gear right there, looking very nice. And you got, so yeah, there's one in the wings and one that is mounted on the fuselage, which looks nice. Let me zoom out to give you guys the wing details. So let's look at the wing details. So here's the wing detail right there. I really do love the metallic design on this aircraft, on this model right here. It looks very nice. And then you got your spoilers right there. It's kind of like hard to see the fairings, but you got your flaps as the trailing edge and the slats as the leading edge. My apologies. And how about this? I do like these like groove designs, these like lines. I think this can be like slat detail if I were to guess. I think these can be slat details. And how about that landing light right there? I love on how they also added that landing light so it can be seen. So really nice right there. And here's that extension piece of the aircraft. Now if I were to guess, I think I said this on Mass Unboxing 1, if we could try to focus. So, ooh, kind of like hard to focus. Yeah, there we go. That's much more better. So here's that extension piece of the wing right there. Now, I think I said this in Mass Unboxing 1, but this extension piece helps with aerodynamics and, of course, special performance, because like, I think since there's like this piece right there, it kind of like reduces like the overall drag of the wingtips and like the airflow that's coming out for wake turbulence. That's like that spiral that comes out of it. So a very interesting design for the 747 SP. And yeah, it's an overall interesting design in general for this aircraft. So quite interesting right there. And then moving on to the very back side of the aircraft, you got your L3 door right there, and this is where coach class would be. So coach class would be running from here all the way to the L4 door, which is right there. And then you got your US flag right there, and of course there's the registration right there, November 145 Uniform Alpha. And then moving on to the very back side of the aircraft, so you got your interesting design of the APU on a 747. So there's the APU right there, auxiliary power unit. And then you got the horizontal stabilizers right there. If I could try to point, there we go. So there's this horizontal stabilizers and this horizontal stabilizers at the on the starboard side. And as I zoom out on my camera, you got the blue tulip tail of United Airlines with all these, like, of course, these navy blue stripes and the tulip logo for United Airlines back then. So, really interesting model indeed, and overall, it looks very nice. And now moving on to the starboard side of the aircraft. So here's the starboard side. And yeah, pretty much the same thing, but you got the cargo doors right there, and then of course you got your R1, R2, and R3 doors right there. So there's your cargo door. And then moving on to the very back side, the back cargo door should also be right there. And you can see that bottom antenna right there. And I don't know if, I think I mentioned it, but the bottom antenna is at the very front is right there. So, once again, a very interesting model by NG Models. And I gotta say, like, it's a very nice retro model as well. And overall, I'm really liking this model at its finest. Taking a look at the top of the aircraft, so let me bring this up. So here's the top of the aircraft right there. Nothing much in detail other than like that beacon light and your top antenna. Moving on to the bottom side of the aircraft. If I can like maneuver my hands. There it is. So here's the bottom of the aircraft. You got your steering hole right there. And your bottom beacon light. And how about this very interesting metallic right there? I think it looks pretty nice. And of course you got your main gears right there. Of course, like as you can see in further detail, these main landing gears are mounted on the fuselage, while these ones are mounted on the wings. So really interesting right there. And I think these are the fairings of the 747. I know they can't be seen from like the outside, but these are the fairings right there. And then moving on to the front side of the aircraft. Oops, I did not mean to hit my mic. But here's the front side of the aircraft, looking pretty nice. Lovely ground flex configuration of the wings. And moving on to the back side of the aircraft, let me try to like maneuver it again. There it is. Perfectly leveled horizontal stabilizers. And yeah, so once again, a very nice boat. Better make sure none of the main landing gears, well, the wheels don't come loose on this aircraft. But other than that, this is a very nice model from NG Models, and I'm really fortunate to have this model into my collection. Now, I do want to get into like further details about this aircraft right here, so I do have some information from Airfleets and Planespotters.net. So here we go. So this is the Boeing 747SP from United Airlines, and once again, this aircraft is registered November 145 Uniform Alpha. So here's some details right there. The serial number or the manufacturing number is 21441 and the line number is 306. And the first flight date was April 25 of 1977, and the aircraft was first delivered to Pan Am on May the 6th of 1977 that same year. And the registration of that aircraft back when it was operated by Pan Am was November 536 Papa Alpha. And later in 1986, it was transferred to United Airlines, which they re-registered this aircraft to November 145 Uniform Alpha. And it's pretty interesting because like Pan Am actually bought all of their 747 SPs to United Airlines. So quite interesting right there. I'm guessing like the 747 SP is somewhat okay for Pan Am, and all of a sudden they decided to like stop using them and transferred all them to United Airlines. And then later in 1977, it was then bought by NASA, where it was then converted to the Sophia aircraft, and that was back in October 20th of 1997. So really nice right there for that aircraft to have another life with NASA. So really interesting right there. And the aircraft's age is 45.8 years, and this aircraft, it was thankfully stored or preserved at the Tucson Pineman Air and Space Museum on December 13th, 2022. So it was very nice for NASA to preserve this particular airframe. Hopefully I could try to go to Pineman Air and Space Museum one day. It's a very nice museum, and it has some very interesting aircraft right there I do want to check out. I've been wanting to like try to catch Sophia for like a while, ever since it was back in service. But Sophia has then, well, last September 2022, that's what I meant to say. Last September 2022, she retired, and unfortunately I cannot see her, but thankfully she was stored in a museum, or preserved in a museum, so hopefully I can see her there, because it is a very nice aircraft, and it's another iconic aircraft in NASA's fleet. Many people, whenever NASA comes, they would always like get a picture of her, so really nice. And these engines right here, as you can see, these navy blue engines, those are Pratt & Whitney JT97 Alpha engines. So they operate 4 of these. Of course, it's a 747 because they operated 4 engines on this aircraft. And yeah, So, really interesting stuff and a very interesting history of this airframe right here. And overall, it did have a great life, and thankfully she'll be preserved in Private Air and Space Museum for many future generations to come. And it's a really nice aircraft, and other than that, a nice aircraft from United Airlines as well. So I do want to talk about more of United Airlines' fleet of 747SP, so let's jump into that portion right now. So the fleet of 747SPs from United Airlines didn't start until 1985 when Pan Am took all their 747s and bought them to United Airlines. And they used to operate 11 of the type, and mainly I think their main operations for these 747SPs are to London Heathrow. So there's like a San Francisco to London Heathrow or a Los Angeles to London Heathrow. I don't know much of United Airlines' flight routes on the 747SP, but those are the two routes I can think of, because I think many airlines across the US from American and United would use the SP to London Heathrow. So I decided to think of that. So yeah, London Heathrow. And they would I think back when they began their 747SP operations, they operated in a hybrid livery with Pan Am and United. So it kind of looked like this. So it was a very interesting livery overall. So really interesting, I gotta say. And they would also operate a Saul Bass 747SP and the Battleship Grey 747SP. But unfortunately, the 747SP didn't last that long, as they retired this aircraft in 1995. Well, all their 747SPs, where the last one retired from United in 1995. And those aircraft were replaced by the 747-400, the 767-300ER, and the 777-200. So, the 747SPs from United Airlines didn't quite last long, just only 10 years, but they did have a great life. So, yeah. And of course, I didn't see these around my timeline, because I was born in 2002, and by now, those aircraft are already retired. So, yeah. Now this model right here, November 145 Uniform Alpha from NG Models, this came out on NG's August 2021 releases, and overall, looking at the aircraft, it looks pretty nice. There was also a Qantas 747SP and an American 747SP that was also in that release set, and really interesting right there. So, yeah, so the 747SP, it's a very nice aircraft from United Airlines, and I do wish they operated this aircraft a lot more, but you know, as they're building up on their fleets, they do retire some of these aircraft because they're not just that reliable. That happened, of course, with many 747s and some older aircraft in their fleet. I know they retired the 747 in 2017, and yeah. But other than that, this is a great model, and I'm just fortunate enough to have this model. It's just fantastic, and NG Models did a nice job on this model. So, let's get into the conclusion video and wrap it up. So overall, this is a very fantastic job by NG Models, and I'm so fortunate to have this model into my United Airlines collection. And I forgot to tell you this to you guys, but this is also my very first retro model added into my collection. So really nice choice for me to go for this model as my first retro model, and I gotta say, it looks very nice. I also do have a United 727-200 in the Battleship Grey livery, and that is also a perfect model to add to my collection as well. So I have two Battleship Grey aircraft, this one and the United 727-200. I'm eager to see if I can get more Battleship Greys, because the Battleship Grey is a very nice livery from United Airlines back then. And it overall looks very nice on the 747. I'm eager to see if I can try getting the 747-400 or some other aircraft. But other than that, it's a very nice model by NG, and they did a very great job on this model right here. So, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on that notification bell so you won't miss a video like this anytime soon. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Anyways, good night.